Hi guys, Jared here at Day Traders FX. I wanted to put together a little quick video on some of the technical levels that I think will be important and even technical setups as we go into the FOMC meeting minutes tomorrow, where we're expecting some tapering announcements, or maybe it doesn't happen, maybe it does. Lots of reasons to believe why this could happen and why it may not happen, why it might be pushed off into December. We can only speculate so much, but the technical levels and the technical setups are here, and they definitely have a few telling signs that we can look for as we go into that taper, or excuse me, into the FOMC news tomorrow. So quickly on the euro dollar, you can see that the euro dollar is kind of in this little short-term uptrend of the last several days, 10 days or so, running up. One thing that I look for quite a bit is missed weekly pivots, missed daily pivots, that kind of a thing. We have a nice little weekly pivot for this week that has not yet been reached, and that gap that hasn't been filled. Now, if the news comes out tomorrow and spikes this up, then this weekly pivot gets very interesting, but this is very close, and we could easily hit this in the next 12, 24 hours. It's only 40 or so pips away, so no big deal there. But if that does run up, this gets much more interesting. If this gets taken out, it doesn't really change our view much, because we're still looking at this ascending trend here, and we've got this little short-term channel that I'm watching. This is 133.85, 133.25, so we're looking for kind of a breakout there. But the pairs that do get pretty interesting, and we're going to refer a little bit more to dollar pairs specifically because of the U.S. announcement side of things. Pound dollar also has a missed weekly pivot for this week, which is likewise only maybe 40 pips away from current market price, a little over 40 pips. But we have a missed weekly pivot of last week as well, which is around 300 pips away from current market price. So this now opens up the big possibility that this is an unreached level. If we look at some larger time frames here, we can see that the pound dollar is quite a bit off a major low. Now, that is a pretty intense double bottom there, but it's off that big low, and we're staying below 160. This leads me to believe that the pound dollar could be looking to take out this missed weekly pivot sooner than later. That definitely puts a bearish sentiment on the pound dollar. So very interesting there, especially against 160. If it stays below 160, I think we could have a very high likelihood of heading down into that weekly pivot, which is, let's get the exact price on there. It's around 300 pips below here. It's all the way down here, 156.12, and you can see that we're 290 pips from current market price on that weekly pivot. So that's one to look at. Now, everybody's super bullish Aussie dollar, and I'm actually pretty bullish Aussie dollar myself, but the other thing that I cannot ignore is a missed weekly pivot on this pair as well. So we have a missed weekly pivot from last week that's all the way down here, again about 220 pips from current market price, and so that tells me that the Aussie might be headed, even though it's made this pretty nice recovery and it's making a nice little double bottom and a great base here, we could see one more dip down before the Aussie rallies. So I'm actually going to use that weekly pivot probably to get long Aussie dollar, and I'm going to use the weekly pivot on the pound dollar as more of a target to trade down to. And I think of course we can trade down to those on both pound dollar and Aussie dollar pairs, but could be a good one to get long on Aussie dollar and a good one to target on pound dollar. Now, the interesting thing about the euro pairs is the euro dollar doesn't have any real missed weekly pivots, but a lot of euro pairs do. You can see the euro Aussie has a major missed weekly pivot of a couple weeks ago, and then we have a missed weekly pivot of last week, and the euro New Zealand has a similar type setup where we have 2 consecutive missed weekly pivots as well. So we might be actually looking at some potential euro strength, but on some of these other pairs we might see some pretty good dollar strength as well. So just keep in mind those levels, and just know that we're starting to see a little bit of a clues of what might be coming in the FOMC news on Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Best of luck, guys, and keep an eye on Twitter at DayTradersFX. I'll have more updates coming there.